Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters from anime, series or movies, such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86, and today from Pokemon and Bandai, in celebration of the Pokemon Fossil Museum that is happening right now in Chicago, I present to you Tyrantrum. This is a Pokemon that is revived from the Jaw Fossil. If you just picture yourself walking into the museum and you're being greeted by Tyrantrum in his fossilized stage, which is what you see in the center. Then towards on the right side you get to see the Pokemon once it's revived. So again, similar to those that watched my Aerodactyl video, if you haven't, I suggest you go check it out. But here the box overview layout is exactly identical, except instead of having the Aerodactyl in the skeleton form as well as its life form, now you have Tyrantrum. And just like the Aerodactyl one, this one doesn't require any glue nor tools, and it has colored plastic. And once again, this is a model kit. On the front side of the box you have images of the model kit as the pieces are being removed from the cells. Then it shows you the picture of the Pokemon in its fossil form, then in its revived form, and lastly you get a nice wall picture of what it would have looked like in the past in its natural habitat. On the side of the box you have another image of Tyrantrum, both in fossilized and live forms. On the back side you get to see all the different cells that are included in this model kit, the brochure style instructions along with the sticker sheet, and you get both a front view and rear view of its live form. Then on the final side, just like the opposite one, again you have a picture of the Pokemon dinosaur inside of the museum. Now let's go check it out. Once you open the box, this model kit comes in 3 different bags that has all the different cells packaged into it, and also comes with a bigger sticker sheet than we saw with Aerodactyl. So I see that it's slightly bent, so hopefully that won't be an issue later on. Tyrantrum comes in 5 cells and 1 sticker sheet. One thing that I noticed, on the first 2 cells towards the right side, those looks like originally they were supposed to be one giant piece, because if you look towards the circle you probably won't notice it, but it looks like they were cut in half. You can clearly see the cut marks from the individual cells. Going towards the center you have the cell that holds all the skeleton pieces. Then towards the left you have 2 different cells. One has the white pieces, which is the quote-unquote fur portions of Tyrantrum. Then the last one is broken up into several different sections within the cells. You have 2 pink ones, the gray portion, the yellowish orange, and you have the black pieces. And you can't forget about the sticker sheet. This one obviously looks more complex. Taking a look at the instructions, it takes the form of a brochure similar to what you would get when you visit a museum. So the upper section of the brochure has a picture of Tyrantrum is displayed as a skeleton. In the second section is showing the life form, and it's got some base stats there. Then in the bottom it shows both figures in the skeleton and life form. Opening the instructions, it is styled similar to a brochure. It's divided into many different sections. So the first section introduces you to all the different cells that holds all the different pieces to assemble this Pokemon. In the second section is an introduction of the guidelines for assembling this model kit. It shows you how to read the layout, how to remove the pieces from the cells, how to attach them, as well as placing the stickers. In the next section you have the overall view of Tyrantrum in its skeleton form. So you have a nice vivid picture there along with the instructions on how to assemble them. So as you can see, he's got a lot of little pieces that snap together. So looking by it, this one looks a little bit more complex than the Aerodactyl for those of you that watched that video. Or you have that model kit yourself. Going towards the end, it shows you the assembled form, and it looks like he comes with a stand, which is pretty cool. Flipping it over, on the back side, the first section shows you a picture of Tyrantrum in its life form. Then it proceeds to show you how to snap all the different pieces onto the skeleton version. Again, this one looks like it's going to be a little bit more complicated than the Aerodactyl one, but hopefully it's not as complicated as a Zoid model kit. Just speaking from past experience. Follow me on IG at Titandel86. Tyrantrum is a rock dragon type Pokemon that evolves from Tyrant when it reaches level 39 during the day. I present to you Tyrantrum, how you will see it displayed in the Pokémon Fossil Museum, especially if you're planning a visit. And obviously based on the press release, you can count to see this particular Pokemon there. It came out very well. I really like the details that they included as far as the bone structure of the dinosaur. As you would notice, it follows a very similar design to a T-Rex. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. One thing to note, he came with a stand that is basically the footprint, but if you find the right angles like I'm showing here, you can get it to stand up without using it. But in the long run, I think you do want to use the special footprint that comes with it just to stabilize the figure. As you can see here, as it's rotating on the table, you can see that it does tend to lose the balance a little bit, which is what you're seeing there. One thing that I like about the figure is the details that they did in the bone structure. The other thing is assembling the figure was extremely easy. It was not as complicated as I was thinking just because of how many pieces were included. If comparing it to the Aerodactyl one, this one has way more pieces, but as far as assembly goes, it was easy. So I'll give it a 1 out of 10 on the difficulty level.
Tyrantrum, the despot Pokemon. Using its jaw, Tyrantrum can rip through thick metal. In times past, it was considered unbeatable.
Now let's check out what articulations you get with Tyrantrum in its skeleton form. So you get good neck movement, which is basically the head. You can get a full 360. The jaw, this is as high as it opens, and this is what it looks like when it's closed. So this is as low as you can see, this is as high, but then he's got the second segment there, so you see that? So this is really as low as it goes, and then this is as high as it goes. And obviously he's limited by the vertebrae that's coming from the backside of the spine. But with that, I mean, he gives you this nice long range of motion, which is something that I really love about these figures. And obviously it's 360 as well. But at this point, it will look like the fossil scientists made a mistake when they were putting this dinosaur together. He has some shoulder movement from the tiny arms, as you can see, and then there's the 360. These are all fixed. That brings you to the legs. So the legs have 360. See that? And then it's got some forward and some movement towards the back. So hopefully you can see that. So this is forward max and this is rear max. Then he's got this joint here which allows you to rotate. So this is as high as it goes, and then this is as inboard. So yes, he can do a split. See that? The knee has all the way up and all the way back. There's no rotation. Then for the ankles, all the way back, all the way forward, and you can rotate them. Now for the tail, you can get 360. This is as high, this is as low. So articulation wise, he's really good in the skeleton form, which is something that I noticed when I did the Aerodactyl figure as well. So this is very good. And there you have him. For this scene, I have Tyrantrum doing the earthquake attack. I decided to do this pose just to show you how dynamic the figure really is in its skeleton form. Depict the Jaw Fossil just to highlight the signature feature of this Pokemon, which is the really huge jaw line that you see there. So that is basically what the fossil is based off of. Looking at some of the description of it, it looks like this Pokemon had a very powerful jaw that was able to crush almost anything. So for me, I can't wait to see this Tyrantrum skeleton to be shown at the Pokemon Fossil Museum exhibition. I'm really excited just to see how that one gonna look like and compare it to this figure. I'm very sure it's gonna be amazing. On this one, I added the base that comes with it, which is that very tiny clear piece at the bottom of the foot. To attach it, it has a little piece that sticks out that can slide into one of the grooves on the foot. And hopefully the camera can capture it. It has the molded feature to go around the toes, just like a footprint. I also added this effect part just to make the scene look better. For the special stand, you can only do certain poses that would enable him to have balance, because all they did is extended the footprint. And finally, brought back to life, I present to you Tyrantrum. Assembling the figure, I did have some challenges with the stickers, and that basically changes the rating score. If I was to rate it without factoring the stickers, I would basically rate this figure a 1 out of 10 on the difficulty level. And that is because the instructions were very straightforward, all the pieces match. Removing them from the cells was also easy. But overall, in reality, this figure was more like a 4 out of 10 on the difficulty level, just because of the stickers, realistically. And I kind of said that before, I'm not a big fan of the stickers. And as you can see, I didn't do a good job on them. That is something that you can see throughout the whole figure, just in the cut lines where the stickers don't really fully match as they come towards the center. You had certain sections where you had the outline of how the sticker was supposed to fit, but depending on how you followed it, it was always leaving a gap somewhere else. Those were not the difficult ones. The hardest ones were the ones on the teeth. Each one of those teeth was a sticker that had a wrap around. That one did take me a while to figure out how to do the technique, where you basically start from the inside of the tooth and wrap your way outside. So in general, the figure from a distance looks super amazing, and you will not see my defects on there. The defects come when you really zoom in particular sections on the figure. And to me, I would have preferred it if they would have just gave us the color plastics to go along, similar to how you see the two spikes towards the end of the tail. Now let's see how much articulation we lost when adding all the exterior pieces. So this is as high as the head goes, and this is as low as it goes. It still has a little bit of rotation there, as you can see. So you could probably still get almost a 360. For the mouth, this is as wide as it goes, so it's very limited now. The arms, you can barely get a 360 out of it. You do get inboard and outboard. And this is as high as it goes, and then this is as low as it can. For the legs, this is as wide as you can split them. This is as far back as it goes. And this is forward front, so you can get a 360 out of it. I almost popped it out of the socket there. And then for the tail, this is high, this is as low, and no rotation. So as you can see, we lost almost all the articulation points that it had when it was in the skeleton version. And there you have it. For this scene, I decided to display Tyrantrum on top of some rocks. You have to remember this is a prehistoric dragon rock type Pokemon. But don't get me wrong, the figure does look really amazing. Obviously, I did a horrible job on the stickers, but even with that horrible defect, it doesn't really take away from the figure. He still looks very ferocious. I know some hardcore folks out there like to grab these figures and just do a nice spray paint job on them. I think on this one, if you was to just paint the sections yourself, I think it will look a lot better than using the stickers. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts. And I would also like to know what is your favorite prehistoric Pokemon. I decided to get this model kit just because the Aerodactyl one left a really good impression on me. I really had fun assembling the figure. It was also something unique since most of these Pokemon you don't really get to see outside the main ones. In this one you can actually interact with it since it's a model kit. You get two options to display them. One in the skeleton form, the other one in its live form. So I find it really cool that they were able to make these model kits not only have the skeleton version, but also making use out of it to give you the option to display them in the live version. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to display this figure, if I'm going to display him just as the skeleton, or am I actually going to leave him just as you see here. He does look really nice in both variants, and this is something that I like, that Bandai and Pokemon came together to give us this model kit to show Tyrantrum in its fossilized form. And I really hope they do the rest of the fossil Pokemon, especially the Gen 1, just so I can complete the collection. I really like what they did here, and honestly I had a fun time assembling the figure. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.
Wow, I had no idea you were so strong.